Okay, mono white aggro. Definitely going to be one of the headlining archetypes in this format in general. What is the best variation of mono white aggro? We don't know yet. We need to play some matches. One thing that we're going to be trying today in this variation is we have Savior of the Ollenbock. Which is a 1/2 with training. This is when this attacks with another creature with greater power. It gets a 1/1 counter on it. And it says, when it trains, exile up to one target creature from the battlefield or graveyard. And then when this leaves play, all the exiled cards go back into play under their owner's control. So this is a really neat split Banisher Priest / Reanimator card. Because, like, if you play this and your opponent doesn't have any targets you want to get rid of, you can exile things from your graveyard, and then when this dies, it puts them back into play. So one of the neat things about this design is that in addition to being good against creature decks taking things off the board, this can also be decent against control because it generates value there. And that's like, you know, cards like Skyclave Apparition and Brutal Cathar and stuff like that, they're really bad in the control matchups because you don't want them to, like, be drawing blank and stuff. That being said, I think I actually do want slightly more Skyclaves in my board. I'm gonna round out my playset there. I'll probably make changes as we play and get better feelings for cards, but that's something we're trying out here. So let's jump on into some games with this mono white variation and see how it goes. Yeah, it's a really neat design. To people saying it's Angel of Serenity, you are misremembering. Angel of Serenity did not return the things to play. Put them back into players' hands. Can someone tell Pixie in chat that the stream is fine and the issue is them? Dropped 0 frames. Oh, when you get timed out, you lose your sword. I would love to play first. Pretty sure we just can't keep hands without curves, right? Yeah, that sounds great. We'll bottom the portable hole. Have a nice 1, 2, 3. Hey, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Jez. I think that's my favorite thing we've played so far. It's the deck highlight on the Daily Deck Digest this morning, for sure. Train on up. It's very possible we should be on 4 of this card too. Maybe we should consider cutting some 3s to play some more of these, drag the curve down. Probably the first time I partake in your Hoglandia tournament. I wanted to ask how it play out. Is it like the last one where you play until 2 match losses? Yes, all of our tournaments are double elimination. I would encourage you to take some time to read the entirety of the rules page on... There's a tab that says rules. Because asking what the format is, I believe implies, I'm pretty sure double elimination's listed under there. There are some other requirements for playing in the tournament as well, such as being in the subscriber Discord server and sharing your screen upon request. Failure to share your screen upon request will result in being removed from the event. So it's important that you know how to do that. If you're not familiar how to screen share in Discord, today's a good day to figure it out rather than tomorrow morning when the tournament starts. It's pretty unfortunate. I think we take this. I mean, their hand doesn't actually interact with us at all. So, like, if they play one of these draw cards and we draw a Snowland, they just die, right? If we don't draw a Snowland, we get to Thalia them. Awesome. Thanks for playing, Yasuo. Yeah, like, their hand was scary in the event that I was like their hand was scary if I was playing a different deck, but it's really not that scary for my handful of beatdowns. Definitely want these Reidanes. I think the Mauls come out here. I just want... These are cards for the matchups where we need to be jumping over them. And then they're definitely an Epiphany deck, right? So Curse of Silence comes in here. Bring in Valorous Stance for ways to kill eggs. I think I'm going to trim one Savior. This gives us 6 ways to kill eggs. Seems like plenty. One, two, three. It's just Curvamentary. What else could it be? Attack to start, see what they do. Yeah, and Spellbinder. To get, like, syncopated here. We did not. Good beats. Whole lot of nothing going on. Do 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 do. I think we're gonna see decks like the opponent have to kind of fundamentally change how they are built to keep up with this mono white deck. And honestly, that'll be a really good thing for the format. Is it Demon Bolt? Well, they drew Fading Hope, sure. Feels like they're gonna have to trim some of their card advantage, have a little bit more respect. Alright, what was this face down card that they just like played their copy spell and then conceded? It's all runes, huh? Alright, sure. Sure. So, Crockett, one thing to note, is this loaded for me yet? MTG Melee is currently dying, but the thing to note about Croaky's tournament is you need to look past top 16 because his tournament is single elimination. You should always look past top 16 in everything, even non-single elim tournaments, but like you need to look and see what the actual win rates are of things, not just like what's at the top of the charts. I had looked going into the 5th round, and it looked like the Is It Turns deck actually had an okay win rate, but it just, you know, they were taking, you know, 1 loss and then being done. If you go 4-1, you're not in the top 16, but like you still had a good tournament going 4-1, right? So, Duck Doolittle, the important thing to understand is that the Epiphany decks have actually never been oppressive by the pure win rate metrics. What Epiphany decks do to the format isn't oppress them by the win rate metrics. The Epiphany decks take the format and strangle it in terms of what decks can be playable. Because if you look at the other decks, now not only is there gameplay pattern issues where like turns decks suck to play against, there's also the issue of how does the card warp the format? Because a format is more than just the successful decks, right? Augustella, thanks for the 10 months. Welcome back. Hey, what's going on, Joe? Our tournament will be at a better Eastern time for you. We start at noon Eastern tomorrow. And this is a little bit awkward here, where if I attack with this, it's going to trade with something. But what? Intrepid's not a bad draw. So I can Intrepid, and this will be a 3-3, and this will be a 3-4. Maybe I play another one of these and then I wait a turn. I'm gonna do that. They're down to 1 card in hand and I'm still at 18. I'm gonna play another Savior and I'm gonna chill for a second. Oh no! I forgot about Sun Gold Sentinel. Yikes. Disaster. Okay, I think that's fine though, right? So I get to do this. Then we pump up the friends. And then we put... Honestly, I think I put the extra counter here. So that way I have extra lifelink on the backswing. And then we attack with these, and these train up. And we get to go ahead and grab this, and grab this. I guess I'm dead to removal now exactly. They have exactly 8. And they don't have a removal spell here for the Intrepid. We're in a very good spot though, right? Like the game's just over. And Aspirant works very well with Savior because it just keeps pumping itself up to guarantee these train every turn. Yeah. So Savior doesn't quite give us that immediate board impact, but the way it just like takes over a game like that, once it's able to get going, is so huge. is actually pretty impressive. I think I'm going to cut 2 Thalias here. The taxing text isn't super relevant on her. And the first strike's okay. Bring in Skyclave. Want this Brutal Cathar as well. Honestly, maybe we just go down to 1 of her. I think I like all these 3s. Just 700 people already. Thanks everybody for showing up for a Saturday stream. I'm not usually live on the weekend, so outside of the open events, which have a lot of prep and people know about them, my weekend metrics can be hit or miss. I plan to play at least 2 decks this morning, this and 1 more, and we might add a 3rd and a 4th if metrics stay good. Oh, Bim, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. I'm just gonna go ahead and trade these off on the draw. I want to be a little bit more defensive. Hey, Dovan, thanks for the brand new Prime support. There's a ton of great people you can send that Prime to every month here on Twitch. Thanks for sending it this way this month. I gotta draw a card and try and hit a land drop here. Never lucky. Is that soon enough? I think I want to do this to disrupt their hand. Could have been right to play this out too, but getting to spot check for another Banisher Priest has a lot of value. Is pretty good. I think if they attack with just the 4/4, I'm gonna trade 2 for 1 here. Okay. Make their board smaller, make our board bigger. Unfortunately, the opponent is on the mono gas off the top plan. Need to draw another Skyclave here. Not able to recover on the draw, unfortunately. Opponent was able to deploy basically their entire hand, and we were able to deploy far less than that. That's fine. We'll take game 3 on the play. TG Melee is still just 504ing a bunch. Poor sight. Wicked Zen, thank you for the 21 months. Welcome back. Has much changed? Nah, not really, Krubbish. Mono White got a power boost with Thalia and some other cards and is in contention for like best deck as opposed to second best deck. But pretty much everything that was good before is still good. Time remains to be seen if third land is excellent, obviously. Remains to be seen if we'll have any new decks impact things. Croaky's tournament was mostly all the same. There's a Red Bull tournament happening today as well, though. I guess I take Reidane. We're on the no blocks here. We're on the play. We can be a little bit more aggressive. MTG Melee is where you can find deck lists from Croaky's event, but it's currently like mid. It's getting a sweet hug of death from 1,000 people trying to queue up the Red Bull tournament. So like an hour to 2 hours from now, you'll have a much better time trying to get deck lists. That's unfortunate. We're in a position to race currently. Yeah, after their last tournament spectacularly failed on the other platform, they switched to using Melee, which is smart. Melee's the best. So, gonna get punished if they draw a Banisher Priest here, but I like powering this up so it can be bigger than this. I'm gonna run the no blocks here, I think. Because this will be big enough to... Yeah, I want this to be big enough to block their stuff. No, training only happens once per attack. Thanks for the follow, Jesus. Is it worth animating Faceless Haven for 1 extra point of damage? Oh, that's a good call. I didn't even think about that. It's a good shout. So this is going to have 7 attack when it attacks already with being targeted once. So I think... Nah, I'm gonna put them both on here because I want, if they want to kill this, I want them to use both of these to kill it. I don't want them to be able to like block these two. And now it's not worth animating the Haven because I want the Haven on defense, potentially. We are dead in 2 to this Reidane in the air. Oh, I have Cave of the Dragon, though. The fact that the token making for this isn't optional is super awkward. We're gonna start putting counters on other things now. Oh my god, that's such a beating. Now my cave can't block it. Yeah, and this is the downside of playing Savior versus something else. While it's really good when you're ahead, the fact that I need an immediate impact on the board here means it just doesn't do anything for me. So I have to block with the Cave of the Frost Dragon. We're gonna redraw next turn to have a chance to kill Reidane. Am I dead to them going wide here? Yeah, I am, aren't I? They have 6 attackers. I have 5 blockers. Yeah. Good game. Not a lot of player agency in this matchup. Did not feel like I really had a lot of choices that mattered there. It just came down to like my opponent having a lifelinker and me not having a lifelinker, and them drawing Reidane. Like maybe you could argue deck building choices got us into where we were. Like if we were playing more Brutal Cathars and less Saviors, we'd have been in a different spot. But we also won game 1 because of Savior being Savior and not Brutal Cathar. Thanks for the follow, Game Forger. Mirror. The mirror doesn't seem particularly exciting for this deck. I don't know. I think on average, mirror matches in Magic tend to not be very interesting. I think I would agree with that take. So you're an old growth troll here. Gonna pump Savior for the turn and then pass, I think. Yeah, I could attack with both of these and like exile a pack leader, and then I could trade this for a pack leader, but I don't think that's a very good trade for me with the Intrepid Adversary in hand. So now we'll just get set up to start savioring next turn. I go ahead and block here if they want to spend their turn making sure their pack leader trades with my innate. This seems like a really good exchange for us. Oh, that's a pretty big mistake. That's actually a huge mistake. I wasn't thinking about them trading with my 2/2, because now I can't use Savior again next turn, right? Whereas, like, if I could activate Savior this turn, the game probably ends, right? Oh, Haven lets us trade. Good shout. In my head, this was a 4/3, but you're right. Adversary makes it bigger. They're just dead, right? Yep. Sorry for taking opponent. I'm slow and dumb. Savior looking really strong. This is impressive, to say the least. I'm not even sure if these buy invitation only should be in here. People talking about what this card should be. Like, look at this, for example, right? Like, look at the cards that are currently in my deck and think about, maybe this one isn't good. Like, what do I even want to cut here, right? It almost feels like I have too many cards for the creature matchups in my sideboard. I started with a deck list that had Doomscar in its sideboard, was like, oh, buy invitation only is better than Doomscar. But looking at my deck here, I don't really have anything that I really want to cut here, right? And I have 64 cards here, which is an implication that I probably have too many cards for the matchup. Maybe Usher's not very good. It doesn't attack in profitably to a lot of their stuff. Is Thalia good here? Yeah. They have Blizzard Brawl, and they have Chariot, and they have Renin 7. They have Ranger class. Like, this deck, Duress is playable against their deck. So, if Duress is playable against them, Thalia is good. It's like a good rule of thumb. If you want Duress, you want Thalia. Minga Hamster, thanks for the 17 months. Welcome back. Although, Thalia is a scotch worse on the draw here when they get to lead Rangers class. I'll take the Rangers class off the table here, I think. First strike does not impact creature fights, no. Moose, thanks for the 20 months. Weekend streams when I can catch a live one. Be sure to send my donation to the Prime Playground. Will do. want to do this. Get our first strike up on defense. Using our life total as a bit of a resource here. Well, we know what they drew off of their draw. Okay. Spellbinder, check the hand. Portable Hole, clear a 3/3 out. Power up Spellbinder here. I'm gonna leave Thalia back because I don't want their 2/2 to attack me because we're down on life. Now we'll make Thalia a 4/3 or first strike. You keep poking him in the air here. And then the Maul just lets us lethal next turn, right? We have 14 coming across with the Luminarch. That was pretty impressive. We felt like we were in a pretty commanding spot there. Honestly, and I've said this a number of times on stream before, I really hope this mono white deck is the best deck in this format. In my opinion, Magic's best standard formats are always headlined by a white or red aggressive deck. Decks that care about attacking and blocking. Because when the best decks in the format care about attacking and blocking, you can build mid-range and interactive decks to have really good games of Magic. When blocking is meaningful interaction, Magic tends to be at its best. Why not a green aggro deck? Because green aggressive decks usually depend on going tall as opposed to going wide, which makes blocking worse and removal spells better. Come on, MTG Melee, load! I need statistics. Alright, MTG Melee is loading now, but the archetype breakdown doesn't exist on Crokey's page. Sedge. Yeah, so Annex, Cleave, Torbran, Mono Red isn't a Mono Red deck like I'm talking about. The last time a Mono Red deck like I'm talking about that I think is healthy for the format existed was, Experimental Red back in GRN/RNA standard. And similar to why I wouldn't list Mono Green as generating good formats, the red decks with Annex, Torbran, and Cleave, blocking wasn't good against them. That's the key thing in my mind that differentiates good, healthy, aggressive decks that make for interesting formats versus not, is blocking relevant against a given deck? And if blocking is good interaction, I think the format tends to be in a really good spot. And if blocking isn't a meaningful game action you're taking, then the format tends to be a little mediocre. Planning a Jawari Disruption, but I can't not play a spell this turn. Gotta spend my mana. Weird that they, like, didn't foretell one of these and just waited to bluff. Strange. Okay, Behold there makes a lot of sense. Oh, I should totally attack first in the event of Cinderclasm. That's a good shout. Please don't show me 2 burden on the house. Alright. So they're gonna make us sacrifice both Spellbinders here. Untapped land lets them take turns and make birds. And this gives them the ability to draw another land and then sweep the board with Burden on the House. Because they are 1 land off of burning down the house, I'm going to go ahead and fire up Cave of the Frost Dragon here to attack instead of committing more to the board. Okay, and if they take 1 here, it means burn down the house is no longer an out, because Cave can kill them next turn if they sweep the board. Burning down the house. Whoo! Beat-it-doo-doo-doo. Wow, brutal. We're just supposed to do this and try and kill them in 2. If this is an answer to Cave, we're actually in trouble. It is not. Good stuff. Slap lands are busted shit. Give the opponent the old smacky smack. We have Valorous Stance and Savior to kill their dragon post board. Curse of Silence and Reidane for a little extra disruption. Well, you can find decks that we've played in the past that are worth watching up on my main YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jeff Hoagland. If you're looking for a curated list of just the highlights, the daily deck digest is what you want. So we had 3 pretty decent deck yesterdays that had long-form content uploaded to the Jeff Hoagland site. Or Jeff Hoagland YouTube channel, and then the Daily Deck Digest posted a highlight of, what's it called? Posted a highlight of, red-black treasures. Okay, and I think I'm supposed to Reidane here because it keeps them off of playing a Memory Deluge next turn. Thanks, Jump. My meager image editing skills are sometimes useful. So we're dead? I think we're dead. Okay. Yeah, we could Reidane backside there, but they're still just gonna like bounce all our shit. They play a land and they Fading Hope a bunch of stuff. This is where the magic happens, chat. Alright, our hand's pretty good if we can draw some lands. My hopes fading away. Bouncing to my hand is my aspirant. They're scrying right now. We'll take this so they don't burn the house down. Be-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do you mulligan for Thalia, or is it not needed? I think Thalia is good in this matchup, but it's not so good that you throw away otherwise keepable, playable hands to like, look for it. Believe it or not, I listened to a lot of Yankovic growing up. You could argue I was white and nerdy. I think we just Reidane. I was a theater kid in high school. I feel like if my improv teacher could see me now, she'd be very proud of me. Untapped land is lethal. Nailed it. Yeah, that was the game. That was the game we mulled to 5 too, right? I think this mono white deck might be good, chat. might be something to the mono white. Yeah, playing a vampire deck with Edgar's on my to-do list. So, Savior, if you haven't been watching, has not been strictly better or strictly worse than the alternatives. It's very different. Savior is the type of card... Hey, nice, Seth. Savior is the type of card that when you're ahead really helps you push your advantage. But something like Cathar is probably a little bit better if you're looking for a catch-up card. That being said, this deck is a get-ahead, stay-ahead type deck, I think, more than anything. So I've really kind of liked Savior so far. Yeah, Savior slams doors shut but struggles to catch up. I think Savior's much better against, like, green, for example. I also think Savior is very good against control, whereas, like, Brutal Cathar struggles there. I mean, it's hard to use without our enablers. Like, I literally just have a bunch of 3-power creatures. You're just wrong. It's not hard to use at all. It's trivial to get 1 counter with this. It's also fairly trivial to get 2. And then, like, if we have an enabler like the 3-drop or the Maul or the Intrepid or the one that gives 1/1 counters, it's, like, very good. They can block all of these to here if they want, but then we kill the Lumiarchs. I guess if they hit untapped land, they get to double Phantom here and get this to a 5. That's not great for us. Yeah, they could have eaten the Thalia, but if they ate the Thalia, they didn't. If they ate the Thalia, then they wouldn't have killed my Savior, and my Savior would have buried them. So you're correct, but your line is also bad. That being said, we're kind of dead here. This is a matchup that Thalia is decidedly very bad in. I think the Cleric's deck's a good choice if the archetype that we're playing is good. I think our deck is very mediocre against the Cleric's archetype. We played Clerics yesterday on stream and it felt very powerful for that reason. Want all of our 3-drop removal Dorkos. Stance and Portable Hold just want to be able to kill their stuff. They have plenty of flying blockers, so Maul's probably not very good. We're playing after this one. The zombies are their deck. Yeah, zombies we have a donation for. We have a few historic deck donations, but because the open tomorrow is standard, we're going to focus on standard today. And then we'll dip into trying out the various historic decks we have brewed starting on Monday. Oh gosh, the Red Bull event, I said 1,000 people, has almost 2,000 people signed up to play in it. That'll be a lot of data points. Thanks for the third of a year, Kingstra. Welcome back. Our deck list for the Hoaglandia tournament going to be available. Yeah, like most tournaments on MTG Melee, the Hoaglandia tournament will be open deck lists. It's always interesting to me to see how many people actually how many of the people signed up for actually play in things like the Red Bull tournament. Because like there's, oh, I forgot to, chat, I'm talking and clicking. God, just, come on, stop it. Fuck, chat. I'm talking and clicking and talking about the Red Bull tournament at the same time. I didn't do the thing because I missed it. Stop it. Thanks for the Prime, Bassie. Jeff, why didn't you make the obvious easy play? Because I'm doing 4 things at once because I'm streaming. You don't need to sit there and needle me about it. Sorry, to finish my thought that I was looking at while we were talking before chat interrupted, there's almost 1,800 people signed up, but the Red Bull tournament is free to enter. So it's always interesting to see how many people of the ones that signed up actually end up playing. Just Intrepid here and keep the pressure on. So obviously if we'd have had a 1-1 here, they'd be close to dead. What, they'd have taken 4 extra points of damage and we'd have a 2-2 right now. Might win anyways, we'll see. Little bit of a sequencing mistake here on their part too. Missed a point of life. we technically didn't double our staff count. We increased from 4 staff members to 7 staff members. So that's technically not double. Alright, they'd have been forced to take some blocks here if I had made the token. We'll see how much life they can gain or if they can deploy a flyer, though, because Cave is lethal in the air next turn. I'm a simple Magic player. I'm a Magic player. Simple math is beyond me. Fair. Hiring adequate staff is going against WotC's lead anyways. Yeah, that's true too. Melee having some tech problems probably doesn't help Red Bull's stuff. I think we fire up Faceless Haven and serve here. How long does the tournament usually last? Our tournaments are usually done in about 7 hours. Sometimes they can be longer, but usually 7 hours. We technically allow for up to 256 players, which if we hit the cap on that, it would be longer, but usually we have about 80 to 90 players. That might be the wrong one to kill, honestly. This voice is gonna get bigger. Yeah. And our tournament's really short for a Magic tournament, for reference. Sometimes lucky. Why not? We run a tight ship. No, I count Christie in the staff count, Red Panda. So previous Hoglande Opens have been run with me, a caster, Christie, and one person doing feature matches. For this upcoming tournament, we added 2 other people recording feature matches and then a 3rd commentator. So added 3 staff members. Thanks for the 32 months, Rhino. Am I attacking? I feel like I'm attacking. I don't really want to trade this for this, though, and give them a 3/3. I say, wait a minute. I didn't think that could animate the block. Jim Davis and Amy the Amazonian will be joining me for commentary tomorrow. I'm going to get an actual lunch break in the middle of the tournament, chat. Instead of just working for 7 hours without eating. Don't worry, it'll be a working lunch because I'm still going to be running my stream computer doing production while Amy and Jim do commentary, but I just won't be on camera, so I'll get, 2 hours to chill and stuff my face in the middle. Hour and a half, 2 hours. I think we just fire up the Cave of the Frost Dragon and try and smack them twice, huh? Yeah, I don't want you to think this is like, we're not unionized yet. No, we don't have actual breaks. I used to, I talked about being a theater kid. I worked at a small theater on the south side of Chicago during high school and undergrad. And I basically like lived there for a lot of my life. I like went to school and worked basically. And there were some weekends where I was just like there for upwards of like 30 hours in a weekend or more. Just like running show into show into show. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that job. I think we just Spellbinder plus Cathar this turn. Okay, that's a good one to know about. I think I'm gonna take the Cleric of Lifespawns here. Oh wow, they're just conceding. Huh, okay, deal. Yeah, if you're not familiar, Faithless, I'd encourage you to check out the YouTube channel, like look back at the past open. So usually a day or two after the open is done, I post a YouTube video of the entirety of the open with whatever downtime we had cut out. So it's just match into match into match. On the front page of my Jeff Hoagland YouTube channel, you can find a playlist of all past opens. There's like matches timestamped in the video description, etc. Mulligan this, we're on the draw. We have a lot of lands, there's no removal. I'm gonna draw some lands with this hand, I can feel it. Can you feel it, chat? Hand sucks, keep, yep. I don't know, Pift. We don't have enough data on the format to know what's really good against anything yet. I think we just Skyclave their Cathar this turn, right? I'll just try and get Ollet Savior set up to do some stuff. We have all of the Banisher Priests. None shall pass. Hey, thanks for the 2 months, Cloudman. Like, this turn's about to be savage, right? We, like, Portable Hole, the Voice, Valorous Stance, the Righteous Valkyrie, attack, Savior the Aspirant, leave them with a 1/1. Well, a 2/2 now, but it was good positioning on their 1/1 counter here. Just cut right through their board. Cloudman, thanks for the 2 months. Good morning. So, Urquan, in the what you did there, so Urquan says, I pay no attention to when I play on the ladder anymore. If I play aggro, 70% of my matches are against aggro. If I play control, 70% of my matches are against control. They need serious work on the matchmaker. What you need serious work on is your ability to understand statistical significance and anecdotal sample sizes. Like, what you are looking at there is this incredibly small sample where, like, unless, like, even if you have it on Untapped where that's, like, actually true, like, your sample is almost assuredly, like, less than a few hundred matches a month at that, right? Like, don't take your small sample size and extrapolate it to mean this is a problem. The idea that the matchmaking algorithm is looking at the deck you're queuing up with and punishing you or doing special things accordingly is so ridiculously paranoid. Yeah, that's actually a good observation. If you're someone that's frequently pivoting to whatever the best meta deck is, it makes sense that you're going to run into more mirror matches. Ever since I bought my Honda Civic, I see more Honda Civics around town. Yep. So, to the person in chat that was like, it's not a conspiracy theory, it's just an impression for me. I get that maybe you mean well by saying that it's not a conspiracy theory, but like, that's the same energy as Carlson Tucker, whatever, Fucker Carlson, sorry, I mixed his name up because he's a stain on society. When he does his, look, I'm not saying this is true, I'm just asking the questions, though. Like, that type of bullshit. And, like, obviously, the things Carlson goes on about are much worse than a paranoid conspiracy theory about the Magic Arena Shuffler, but it's the same type of thing, where, like, I'm not saying it was aliens, but chat, I'm not saying it wasn't aliens. Come on now, the truth is out there. Like, that type of bullshit. Something I've talked about before is, like, you know, I used to remember laughing about flat earthers, right? Because it was funny. Like, haha, these people are so stupid, they think the earth is flat. But then you make it to today, and the people who are flat earthers are now anti-vaxxers. And it's like, well, maybe the anti-intellectualism wasn't ever funny, and it was always damaging to society. And maybe we should have been more concerned about the anti-intellectualism that was appearing around us. There's a good YouTube documentary about the flat earther to QAnon pipeline. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the types of people that are inclined to believe things like the earth is not round are going to be the same types of people that believe other conspiracy theories. How do I put the worms back in the can? Ooh, Crippling Fear is actually a good shout. So this is game 1, so hopefully they don't have Crippling Fear, but I should definitely start distributing counters from my Aspirant to play around it. And, like, this is another game, right? Where, like, Savior of Ollenbock is just here to completely take over the game in this creature matchup, right? Like, we're a little bit ahead, and Savior just gets to sit and play and take something every single turn for the rest of the game and just put it completely out of reach for the opponent. I wonder if this is a by invitation only matchup, especially on the draw. Maybe we want it as a catch-up card. Do we want a catch-up card here, or is this more of a mustard matchup? We have only used Savior to push damage so far. Well, so if anything, RK, to extrapolate, the fact that the pairing algorithm had an issue where it repaired you into the same people immediately should, if anything, tell you that the pairing algorithm in this game is very straightforward and doesn't have a lot of hoops it jumps through, because just losing that one setting meant that it was pairing you into the same person with no conspiratorial, like, there's no background, there's nothing else going, there's very little going on in the background based on that. Because that one checkbox basically got changed, and then suddenly it was like, I'm just putting you into the first available person. Hey, I never able to catch you live. Wanted to say you've been helpful through YouTube, making me a better Magic player. I remember when you played Rock Control with Lifebane Zombie, and I wanted you to know when you played that deck, it was made me want to play Magic at 15. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Fishy? Gosh, injure me. You were 15 when I played that deck? So that means you're in your mid-20s now? Early 20s? Early 20s, right? It hasn't been that long. 7, 8 years, maybe? This hand looks fine. Got a couple of removal spells and some threats. You know, it's actually really funny that you mentioned that deck, Mr. Fishy. If you haven't seen, if you didn't watch the deck digest this morning, 24, ow! Oh, it was 9 years, chat. Oh, it's been so long. Oh, no. The new vampire, the 4-drop 5/6 with flying, the Blood Vial Curator or whatever it's called, that card gives me big Desecration Demon vibes, where it's just like this fat, black, evasive threat that hits really hard, that like has a little bit of a drawback to it. We're definitely gonna be doing more Brewing with Bloodline Purveyor on this stream. For sure. All right, so we're really hoping to draw a 2-mana card next turn. Portable Hole is probably the best draw in our deck. Another Valorous Stance would also be very good. We want to stance something here and then also use the rest of our mana, ideally. Nailed it. Okay, and we're just gonna like chew through their board here again, right? It just like Portable Hole this, Valorous Stance this, attack you, your board is gone, and I have a removal spell on board waiting to get your next thing. So if they don't have a way to get rid of this, they're just kind of dead. I played Grixis deck with Desecration Demon and Standard before it was popular. Nice. Gary Pax, thank you for the 16 months, by the way. I've been missing some sub notifications, Jim. I'm not on my A game today. Yes, Faceless Haven being a 4th power to make this get trained up is also excellent. Show me your secrets. I want to know if they have a removal spell before I attack. Yes, training is not optional is noteworthy. Okay, so they can take Savior here regardless. I'm going to take Skyclave because it'll make them tap out. And then I am going to go ahead and play Aspirant here. And then Aspirant can pump this, which means if they burst this, they don't get a free block. I do want to pressure their life total so they're far away from the static text on this. I assume this is just about to go away. Yeah, I think this card's super historic playable. Look at me. I'm the life gain deck. Oh, the portal. I wasn't thinking about them getting their other thing back from the portable hole. So we're going to lead on Aspirant here. I don't want them to know Savior is coming when I attack this turn. I want them to make their blocks before they get this information. Well, if I exile it from their graveyard or quad, it comes back into play when my thing dies, so no. Should read the card. I'm gonna attack with both of these and get rid of the veteran so I can't eat this in combat. Hey, thanks for the 7 months, Cred. I'm looking forward to the open too. Should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. I'm hoping all our production changes go well. There is a little bit of added complexity in the tech setup, adding more people to the mix, but I'm hoping it can go smoothly. I've got 2 of my buddies coming over tonight to give them the rundown on what they're doing for recording matches for us. And that Mike's an old pro, so that'll go well. So, to tell you something you probably already know, this archetype is very good. The thing that people are gonna want an answer from this set is, I don't know that I have a great answer for you. The big question is like, is this card good? And the other question past is it good is it better than the alternatives? Because this card is very directly competing for slots with Skyclave and Brutal Cathar. And I think the matchups against The matchups against those cleric decks and the other creature especially really showed off the upside that this card has. The fact that this is a card that lets you keep the pressure on when you're ahead and really slam the door shut feels very strong. That being said, it's pretty rancid when you're behind. I think I prefer this to the other ones in the main deck, especially because of its flexibility against control. Not only can this generate card advantage against control by pulling things out of our graveyard, but the fact that this just trains up with your other threats, adding increased pressure to the board every turn against control is a big deal. When you have Savior and Aspirant out, you basically get to add 2 power to the table every turn without committing extra cards to the board, which feels really strong. By invitation only, I don't know what I would cut it for, but I don't think I'd play this card. The way we were boarding and looking at our deck against other white aggro decks and green aggro, I didn't really think this was necessary. I started off with a net deck that had Doomscar in its mono white sideboard, and this definitely would have been better than that, but I didn't really feel like, especially with Savior, I was ever really in a position that I wanted a sweeper effect in my aggressive deck. So I think I'd have to sit down and think through what the ins and outs are and maybe look at some other successful white decks to figure out what I want the sideboard to be exactly, but I definitely don't want this card. Stance was really good at several points. Getting to have a card that kills Lear and also protects your stuff from sweepers is nice as expected.